To put some sugar in your spice, you must visit the doctor twice, says one Kentucky lawmaker. Representative Mary Lou Margin has filed a bill that would force men seeking erectile dysfunction medication to get their wife's permission before they can get their hands on those little blue pills. The legislator says the Viagra Bill requires men to have at least 2 office visits, a letter from their wife, and swear on a Bible to only use the drug for sex with their spouse. If passed, only married men would be eligible for erectile dysfunction treatment under the legislation. Will this lead to a rise in marriages?
You know what? I don't think this bill is going to pass.
When I'm prescribing Viagra to a male patient,
I just asked Jen Berman, and she gives me all I want.
I always ask.
She comes in with a bag. Here, Drew, there you go.
Yeah, most people in their offices
This should get you through the weekend.
Most people have, bowls. Most people in their office, you walk in, there's a bowl of candy, M&Ms. With Drew, it's just a bowl of little blue pills.
It's an expensive bowl.
What do you ask?
Yes, the one thing I always ask gentlemen when they want to get on Viagra and they're married is I ask, so have you talked to your wife about this? And the only reason I ask is to differentiate. Is this for your wife or is this for some extracurricular activities? And 2, because if you think about it, women for years thought that they were going to age with their partners, and eventually his penis was going to stop working, and then she would get a break.
That ain't going to happen on my watch.
What I find is that women, if their husband has Viagra and it's too much, they come in and like, Dr. Rachel, could you please not give him any more Viagra? So it creates.
Do they really?
Oh, I promise you, they do. So I think it's a good question to ask your patients. Well, have you talked to your wife about this?
So, but you're saying talk to the spouse about it, but require them to sign off. Now, incidentally, men with erectile dysfunction, it's not as though they can't theoretically have a personal session that doesn't involve another woman.
Exactly.
Sure.
And I'm saying this sincerely. Erectile dysfunction is a really important thing to focus on because men aged 40 or beyond, it's estimated that 50% of them at some time or another will suffer from erectile dysfunction. When you're talking about half the male population beyond the age of 40 at one time or another, again, this is a serious medical issue that we tend to make light of because we always make fun of medical issues for men a lot. We do. It's like, ha, ha, funny, funny. But think about that. Like, if you're a man who truly suffers from erectile dysfunction and your wife, maybe she doesn't want to engage in sex very much, well, that man honestly still has the right to that medication, even if he wants to use it for, and I'll say this to be self-pleasuring. He should have that right.
For self-pleasuring?
Yes.
He's like, you're going to waste it?
Okay, I'm going to pop my pill in an hour and then go.
Drew.
Men do it all the time.
Yes, look, not everyone. Drew's like, I haven't self-pleasured since 1940.
What? I'm not saying that, but popping a blue pill to self-pleasure.
No, but even just to pop it, just to have an erection, to get one, to walk around with it, but walk around the house with it, men psychologically.
Hey, how we doing?
If you suffer from true erectile dysfunction, that's part of being a man is being able to have an erection.
That is.
And that is a very independent thing.
It is, and for a lot of men, it comes with shame and embarrassment, and that's, if you have a significant other, it's probably important to get them on board because you have to plan things to a certain degree, the timing factor.
Absolutely.
If you think you're going to engage in sex, well, you need to plan and take your medications appropriately. But the other thing about ED is that very often it is the first sign or a sign of more serious underlying medical conditions, heart problems, circulation problems, high cholesterol, prostate issues, overweight, out of shape. All those things can go hand in hand with that.
So the last thing we need to do is make men feel more shame, because if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction, you need to get evaluated, not just for erectile dysfunction, but potentially cardiovascular problems. Now, the one reality here is that the representative in question here, I think in some ways was introducing this bill tongue-in-cheek to highlight some of the requirements that women face in their state. And so it's an understandable conversation starter, which I do think in some ways it's effective.